All right, everyone. So we have another Gears of War video for you. This is from Game Rant, and I have not read this article yet, but it stuck out to me, and so I wanted to do a video on it. So we're gonna go through while Gears of War's next step after Reloaded seems obvious, going off the beaten path may be best. So I want to see what this article's all about. I have no clue. I didn't. As soon as I saw the headline, I said this feels like an interesting video. And if you've noticed, we kind of went a little bit away from my original plan before I get into this article of what we are going to do from the beta ending to launch day. I was going to try to do almost a video a day and maybe, do different things. But as I was playing the beta, I just felt like, you know what? Let's just really hit on big topics. Let's spread it out a little bit more so that we save a lot of stuff for when it releases. And I want you guys to be, every time you click on a video from this channel, I want you to be like, you know what? That was worthy of watching, and I want to do a little bit more of the, like just me playing for 2 hours. I want to sprinkle those in as well. But I just think that I wanted to maybe do as many videos as possible, and I think for now, until it releases, um, I think doing it as we're doing it, which is just anytime I think there's something worthy of doing a video on, I'll do it. I'm going to do it that way. And as soon as the game releases, I would like to at least have a video every other day. I would at least like to do that. And it's up to change. I'm not someone that has a hard and fast rule on any of this. I just want to put out videos that you guys want to see. And it feels like the more recent ones, judging by viewership and likes and comments, it feels like it's really hitting the like what you guys want to see. And I don't really give a crap about, like, I'm not doing a video for views necessarily, but I do want it something you're interested in, right? So I don't really care if something gets like, 10,000 views, but I also want to make sure that the people watching are like, this was worthy. So let's go through this article and let's get into it. In late August, later this year, the once Xbox and PC exclusive Gears of War series will break tradition and launch on PlayStation platforms with upcoming Gears of War Reloaded, a remaster of 2006's Gears of War 1 and 2015's Gears of War Ultimate Edition. Gears of War Reloaded will have players replay through Marcus Phoenix and Delta Squad's first operation together, known as the Lightmass Offensive. With Reloaded expected to prepare players for Gears of War E-Day's release in 2026, it could be predicted that the Coalition would next work on a Gears of War 2 remaster after E-Day's debut. However, it may be lucrative for the Coalition to remaster a different Gears of War title after Reloaded and E-Day's release, Gears of War Judgment. Gears of War Judgment explained. And I'll jump in every once in a while, but I haven't read the argument yet, so I don't want to, get upset. But I want Gears of War 2 remastered 110%. Okay. I want Gears of War remastered, Gears of War 2 remastered 110%. I think personally, it certainly is the game I played the most, but I think Gears of War 2 is the best Gears of War out of all of them. I want to see that one remastered. Released in early 2013 as the final game developed by Gears of War creators Epic Games and the final Gears to be developed for the Xbox 360, Gears of War Judgment was the fourth Gears title ever produced following 2011's Gears of War 3. Despite being the fourth Gears title and releasing after the climatic events of Gears of War 3, Judgment was Gears' first proper prequel game set several months after Emergence Day and about 14 years before Gears of War 1's Lightmass Offensive. While Judgment is a prequel, most of its gameplay, weapon arsenal, enemies, and designs are based on features from Gears of War 3, sometimes in a non-canonical ways, such as the early appearance of the Chainsaw Lancer. In terms of narrative, Gears of War Judgment follows then Lieutenant Damon Baird as his Kilo Squad on trial for disobeying the orders of Coalition of Ordered Government's Colonel Ezra Loomis. Each section of Judgment's campaign is split up by flashbacks recounted by each member of Kilo Squad, with players being able to play as Baird, Augustus Cole, Sophia Hendrick, and former UIR soldier Garen Paddock. So this is interesting, right? And this is why I said, look, I'm not going to judge something until I read the argument. I think this is a decent enough argument here where they're saying, look, this game is the prequel, right? So this is before the actions of even Gears of War 1. And if we have E-Day, which is E-Day on the timeline here, is E-Day before this? It might be, right? So E-Day may be first. So I understand that. And maybe they go that way. All I'll say is they have to make sure that at some point we get Gears of War 2 remastered. Like the whole thing I'm seeing here is that we talked about this in other videos, but to me, the goal of what the plan should be with Gears of War is you use these remasters and these remakes to buy you time until you release, your next main series title, and you can make sure those are as good as possible. And I'm not someone who knows much about the development. I'm not someone that knows how many resources it takes to do this stuff. But to me, part of the problem we see with a lot of games is, like let's take something like Call of Duty, right? They're constantly trying to have to get another Call of Duty out. And it's just, if you really took a game and you said, "No, we're going to give it 4 years to do," imagine how good of Call of Duty could be if you're like, we're going to have 4 years to do it. And with Gears of War, sometimes I feel like we go too long without getting one. And I think the remasters can kind of sit in the middle of these things so we can get a new game to play. And then, you get the new version. And when you get the new version, it's a game you're like, oh my God, this rocks. Right. So maybe you put one like halfway between the life cycles or something. I don't know. But I just think it's a really good way to do that. And so I want to see Gears of War 2 remastered. But I understand the argument here. As Kilo Squad attempts to defend the cog city of Halvo Bay from the invading Locust General Samil Karn, players can take part in optional declassified mission objectives. These often make levels more difficult by restricting available ammo, weapons, issuing a time limit, and more similar to Halo's Skull modifiers. Gears of War 2 Remastered versus Gears of War Judgment Remastered. With both Gears of War Reloaded and Gears of War E-Day bringing players back to the past of the Locust War decades before Gears of War 4 and 5, it may be more opportune for the Coalition to remaster Gears of War Judgment before Gears of War 2. Remastering Judgment could give new PlayStation fans a better perspective of the early years of Locust War, with Judgment expected to take place right after E-Day's events. Additionally, Judgment is currently only playable on the Xbox 360 or through modern Xbox consoles backwards compatibility, so remastering Judgment after E-Day could allow gamers to finally play Baird's starring role on PC and PlayStation. A Judgment remaster could additionally help PC players gain a better view of early Locust War, as Gears Tactics takes place 1 year after Emergence Day. However, Judgment wasn't a very popular game compared to its mainline Gears predecessors. Gears of War Judgment received many mixed reviews due to its lack of features, and it only sold 1 million copies by August of 2013, compared to Gears of War 3, which sold over 3 million copies in its first week alone. Due to these factors, it may be better if the Coalition simply remaster Judgment's campaign or lump it in alongside of Gears of War 2 or 3 remaster, similar to how Halo 3 ODST's campaign was later added to Halo the Master Chief Collection. Okay, this is why, like I said, I love reading these articles and getting the argument. This right here, this guy stumbles into it. I shouldn't say stumbles into it. He just puts it out. This is what should happen. Okay. You don't, because another thing is you don't want to break up the online cycle of any of these Gears of War games, meaning you don't want to have, okay, we release one Gears of War game with online, and then we release another game with online, and then another game with online, and you're splitting everybody's online play amongst three different ones. What you want to do is you want to have whatever your new mainline game be the dominant online game, right? So when E-Day comes out, you want that to be the dominant online game. And then about halfway through, as E-Day starts, maybe, okay, we're getting to a point where, people are starting to fall off. You release the new one, and now that becomes for a little while the new online game for Gears of War. Don't have Judgment come out with an online. If the whole point is, look, we just want to have the campaign remastered, then do them together, right? Do them together. I think that works perfectly, right? I think you could put it with whatever you're doing next. If you're going to do Gears of War 2, put it in with that. The potential of a Gears of War 2 remaster. If Gears of War Reloaded proves to be a critical and financial success on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, it may be better to remaster Gears of War 2 next, especially if the rumored Gears of War Marcus Phoenix collection never comes to fruition. Gears of War 2 is often regarded as the best Gears of War game due to its emotional and thrilling campaign, as well as the introduction of Horde mode, which went to inspire many games to develop similar wave-based PvE modes. However, despite Gears of War 2's widespread critical and financial success, Gears of War 2 has never been updated beyond the Xbox 360 and is only playable through modern Xbox consoles backwards compatibility. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love is, first of all, the Horde mode is awesome. I never played it enough back in the day because I was so obsessed with the online, but 100% Horde mode was great. And I would love to see in kind of the new gaming environment what people can do with Horde mode as it pertains to, different series and different challenges. And I'm sure people did it back in the day too, but it's similarly to how I feel about kind of like even the Forge mode. And I know a lot of people still do Forge mode, but I shouldn't, I might be talking out of my ass a little bit on this one, but I just remember uh, Forge mode in Halo 3, and correct me if I'm wrong, if there's still like this giant community in the newer Halo games using Forge mode, but Forge mode in Halo 3, the amount of stuff that was created in that and how cool it was and new it was, the things that people could do now, I think would be stunning. And I feel the same way with, Gears of War 2 in the Horde mode. You could just do so much more nowadays than just what was happening back in the day. So I agree. I actually agreed more. I kind of felt like this would have been one of the first videos where I disagreed with some of the points made, but I think this guy makes really good points here, and I think that right here is the exact this is the bingo, right? Make Gears of War 2 and throw in Judgment campaign in there as well. Give it both. You can have the multiplayer of Gears 2, you could have the Judgment campaign, or you could just put out the campaign on its own too, but I do like the idea of like what the argument that's being made here is, look, we're inviting a whole new group of players who have never played Gears of War before, and you want to bring them into it and let them go through the story and kind of they're going to have the experience we had back in the day playing through these things. Although I got to say, I played the campaigns, but I'm a multiplayer guy on a lot of this stuff. We will be playing the Gears of War Reloaded campaign though, so we will be doing that. But I'm more of a multiplayer guy. But look, for people to get into it, go through it, right? E-Day, Judgment, Gears of War Reloaded, have them really, really, really get interested in it. I think that that would be pretty cool. So thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Is this dumb? Is this good? What is it? We'll see you next time.